Reagan Foxx is a name that commands attention the moment it is spoken, not because of controversy alone, but because of the powerful, unapologetic journey behind it. Known for her confident presence, dominant personality, and a career that defied traditional expectations of age and image in the adult entertainment industry, Reagan Foxx represents a different kind of success story, one built on self-awareness, timing, and control over her own narrative. Born in the United States, Reagan Foxx grew up in an environment that was relatively ordinary and far removed from the spotlight she would later step into. Her early life was not defined by fame, glamour, or public recognition. Like many others, she lived a private life, focused on everyday responsibilities, personal relationships, and long-term stability. There was no early indication that she would one day become a well-known figure in adult media. In fact, her path into the industry would come much later than most performers, making her story stand out even more. Before entering adult entertainment, Reagan lived a conventional life. She worked regular jobs, handled responsibilities that came with adulthood, and experienced life from a perspective that many adult performers never get the chance to have before entering the industry. This period of her life played a crucial role in shaping her confidence and emotional maturity. She understood people, boundaries, and power dynamics long before stepping in front of a camera, and this understanding later became one of her biggest strengths. Reagan Foxx entered the adult industry at a time when most performers are already established or even thinking about retirement. Instead of seeing age as a limitation, she turned it into her brand. She embraced the mature persona fully, not as a marketing trick, but as an extension of who she genuinely was. This authenticity immediately set her apart. Audiences responded not just to her physical appearance, but to the confidence and authority she naturally projected. From her earliest appearances, it was clear that Reagan Foxx was not trying to fit into an existing mold. She did not chase trends or attempt to replicate the styles of younger performers. Instead, she leaned into a dominant, composed, and assertive presence that felt real rather than performative. This approach helped her quickly gain attention in a crowded industry where standing out is often the hardest challenge. Her on-screen persona was built around control, confidence, and psychological intensity rather than exaggerated theatrics. This made her performances memorable and distinctive. Viewers felt that she was fully in command, not just of the scene, but of herself. That sense of self-possession became a defining trait of her brand and contributed significantly to her rapid rise in popularity. As her career progressed, Reagan Foxx began working with major studios and platforms, each collaboration further solidifying her reputation. She became especially well-known in genres that emphasized power dynamics and mature authority, where her natural demeanor felt perfectly aligned. Rather than being typecast in a limiting way, she used these roles to reinforce her identity and expand her reach. One of the most remarkable aspects of Reagan Foxx's journey is how deliberately she navigated the industry. She approached her work with the mindset of someone who had already lived a full life outside of it. This meant she was less influenced by external pressure and more focused on making choices that aligned with her personal comfort and long-term goals. She did not rush, and she did not overextend herself. Every step appeared calculated and intentional. Beyond performance, Reagan Foxx also became known for her outspoken and candid personality off-camera. She did not shy away from discussing industry realities, personal boundaries, or the importance of consent and communication. This openness earned her respect not only from fans but also from peers within the industry. She was seen as someone who understood both the business and the human side of adult entertainment. Her presence on social media further strengthened her connection with audiences. Instead of presenting a polished, distant image, she communicated in a direct and honest manner. She spoke openly about confidence, sexuality, aging, and empowerment, topics that resonated strongly with a mature audience often overlooked by mainstream media. This authenticity helped her build a loyal fan base that extended beyond casual view shows. Reagan Foxx also challenged the common narrative that adult entertainment is only for the young. Her success became a powerful example that confidence, experience, and self-acceptance can be just as compelling, if not more so, than youth alone. This shift in perception played a role in opening doors for other mature performers who followed similar paths. As her popularity grew, so did her influence. She was no longer just a performer but a recognizable personality with a distinct voice. Interviews, podcasts, and fan interactions revealed someone who was thoughtful, self-aware, and unapologetically honest. She did not present herself as flawless or manufactured. Instead, she embraced complexity, acknowledging both the challenges and rewards of her career. Financial independence and control over her content became increasingly important to her as well. Like many modern performers, Reagan Foxx recognized the value of owning her brand rather than relying solely on traditional studio systems. This awareness allowed her to adapt to changes in the industry, especially as digital platforms and direct-to-fan models became more prominent. Throughout her journey, Reagan Foxx maintained a clear sense of identity. She never attempted to rewrite her past or distance herself from who she was before fame. Instead, she integrated all aspects of her life into a cohesive narrative, one that emphasized growth rather than reinvention. This consistency made her story relatable to many who saw parts of their own experiences reflected in hers. Her career also sparked conversations around societal expectations, particularly regarding age, sexuality, and gender roles. By thriving in a space that often prioritizes youth, she challenged deeply ingrained assumptions and encouraged a broader definition of desirability and power. These conversations extended beyond adult entertainment and into wider cultural discussions. Even critics could not ignore the impact she had made. While opinions varied, her influence was undeniable. She had carved out a space that was uniquely hers, one defined by confidence, autonomy, and deliberate choice. She proved that success does not always follow a single path and that timing, when aligned with self-understanding, can be just as important as opportunity. As Reagan Foxx continued to evolve, she remained selective about her work, prioritizing quality and alignment over quantity. This approach helped preserve her image and maintain long-term relevance. Rather than burning out quickly, she built a sustainable presence that allowed her to remain in control of her narrative. Her journey is not just about adult entertainment. It is about reclaiming agency, redefining norms, and embracing authenticity at any stage of life. Reagan Foxx's story resonates because it reflects a truth many people feel but rarely see represented: that confidence grows with experience, and that self-worth is not limited by age or expectation. As Reagan Foxx moved deeper into her career, the clarity with which she approached her choices became even more visible. She was never driven by the pressure to constantly stay in the spotlight. Instead, she focused on maintaining relevance through authenticity. This mindset allowed her to avoid many of the pitfalls that often affect performers who enter the industry without a strong sense of self. Reagan understood that longevity was not about constant exposure, but about consistency, respect, and self-control. Her performances continued to attract attention because they felt grounded in reality rather than fantasy alone. There was a psychological depth to her on-screen presence that made scenes feel more intimate and intense. Viewers were not just watching a performance. They were engaging with a personality that felt commanding and self-assured. This emotional realism became one of her strongest assets and contributed to her sustained popularity. Another important aspect of Reagan Foxx's journey is her relationship with power dynamics. She did not portray dominance as aggression or cruelty, but as confidence rooted in self-knowledge. This nuanced portrayal resonated with audiences who were looking for something more mature and emotionally intelligent. It also helped redefine how dominance could be represented in adult media, shifting the focus from shock value to presence and authority. As time went on, Reagan Foxx became increasingly vocal about personal boundaries and self-respect within the industry. She openly discussed the importance of consent, communication, and professionalism, reinforcing the idea that adult entertainment is still a workplace that requires mutual respect. These conversations added depth to her public image and positioned her as someone who cared about the well-being of performers as much as her own success. Her interactions with fans further reflected this maturity. Reagan Foxx did not rely solely on visual appeal to connect with her audience. She engaged through conversation, honesty, and confidence, creating a sense of connection that went beyond surface-level attraction. Fans felt acknowledged and respected, which strengthened loyalty and trust over time. Social media played a significant role in shaping her modern presence. Rather than using it purely as a promotional tool, she treated it as an extension of her voice. She shared thoughts on confidence, aging, empowerment, and personal growth, topics that resonated with a wide audience. This approach helped her stand out in a digital landscape often dominated by curated perfection and unrealistic standards. Reagan Foxx also demonstrated a strong understanding of branding. She knew who she was, what she represented, and what she did not want to compromise. This clarity allowed her to maintain a consistent image while still evolving naturally. She was not afraid to say no, even when opportunities presented themselves, because she valued alignment over exposure. Financial awareness became another key element of her journey. Reagan recognized early on that independence was crucial for long-term stability. By diversifying her income streams and embracing direct-to-fan platforms, she reduced reliance on traditional studio systems. This shift gave her greater control over her work and allowed her to build a more sustainable career. Her experience outside the industry before entering it played a major role in this strategic thinking. Having lived a full life prior to fame, Reagan Foxx understood the importance of planning, saving, and thinking beyond immediate success. This perspective set her apart from many performers who enter the industry at a young age without a safety net or long-term plan. Culturally, Reagan Foxx's success challenged deeply rooted stereotypes. She proved that sexuality does not diminish with age, and that confidence can grow stronger over time. Her visibility helped normalize conversations around mature desire and self-expression, topics often ignored or stigmatized in mainstream media. The industry itself began to reflect these changes. More platforms and studios started recognizing the value of mature performers, partly due to the demand Reagan Foxx helped demonstrate. Her success showed that audiences were diverse and that representation mattered more than rigid beauty standards. Despite her growing influence, Reagan Foxx remained grounded. She did not present herself as a symbol beyond criticism or growth. Instead, she acknowledged challenges openly and continued learning from her experiences. This humility added another layer to her public persona, making her even more relatable. Her interviews often revealed a thoughtful approach to fame. Reagan spoke about the importance of mental health, self-care, and balance, emphasizing that success should not come at the cost of personal well-being. These messages resonated strongly in an industry known for its pressures and emotional demands. Over time, Reagan Foxx's journey became less about proving herself and more about maintaining alignment with her values. She was no longer chasing recognition. She was shaping her own definition of success. This shift allowed her to enjoy her career rather than feel consumed by it. As trends in adult entertainment continued to evolve, Reagan adapted without losing her identity. She embraced new platforms and formats while staying true to her core presence. This adaptability ensured her continued relevance in a fast-changing digital environment. Her story also inspired conversations outside the industry. Many people saw in her journey a reflection of their own struggles with reinvention, confidence, and self-acceptance later in life. Reagan Foxx became a reminder that it is never too late to step into one's power and redefine personal narratives. With each phase of her career, she demonstrated that control over one's image is not about perfection but about honesty. Reagan Foxx did not attempt to hide her age or experiences. She highlighted them as strengths. This transparency built trust and admiration among her audience. As her career matured, Reagan Foxx became increasingly selective, choosing projects that aligned with her energy and values. This selectiveness preserved her image and prevented burnout, allowing her to sustain a meaningful presence rather than a fleeting one. Her journey continues to be a testament to confidence built through experience rather than validation. Reagan Foxx represents a form of empowerment rooted in self-awareness, choice, and authenticity. She did not follow a predefined path. She created one that fit her life, her timing, and her truth. As Reagan Foxx continued shaping her career, the concept of legacy slowly became part of the conversation around her name. Not in the traditional sense of awards or rankings, but in how she influenced perception. She showed that authority and sensuality do not come from trying to please everyone, but from being fully comfortable in one's own skin. This idea resonated strongly with audiences who were tired of manufactured personalities and short-lived trends. Her public image evolved into something deeper than performance alone. Reagan Foxx came to represent a mindset, one centered on self-ownership and emotional intelligence. She did not rely on shock value or controversy to stay relevant. Instead, she built credibility by being consistent, composed, and honest. Over time, this consistency created trust, and trust turned into long-term loyalty from her audience. Within the industry, Reagan Foxx became known as someone who understood boundaries clearly and expected professionalism. This reputation helped her maintain respectful working relationships and avoid many of the conflicts that can arise in a fast-paced and often chaotic environment. Her calm but firm approach earned her quiet respect, even among those who may not have shared her style or audience. Another defining aspect of her journey is how she handled visibility. Reagan Foxx did not chase virality for its own sake. She understood that attention without intention fades quickly. Instead, she focused on meaningful engagement, choosing when and how to show up. This intentional presence allowed her to stay relevant without overexposing herself. Her confidence extended beyond the camera. Reagan often spoke about personal responsibility and accountability, emphasizing that empowerment is not about blaming circumstances but about making conscious choices. These messages resonated especially with mature audiences who had lived enough life to understand complexity rather than simplicity. The conversation around age in entertainment continued to shift because of figures like Reagan Foxx. She challenged the idea that desirability has an expiration date. By owning her age rather than disguising it, she reframed maturity as an advantage rather than a liability. This reframing had a ripple effect, influencing how audiences and creators alike viewed representation. Reagan Foxx also became an example of how reinvention does not require erasing the past. She did not present herself as someone starting over, but as someone adding a new chapter. This distinction mattered. It showed that growth can be additive rather than corrective, a concept many people found empowering. Her approach to sexuality was equally grounded. Reagan presented it as a form of expression rather than performance alone. This perspective added emotional depth to her work and differentiated her from performers who relied solely on visual appeal. It also helped normalize conversations about desire, consent, and confidence among older audiences. As her platform grew, so did her sense of responsibility. Reagan Foxx understood that visibility comes with influence, and she used that influence thoughtfully. She avoided promoting unrealistic standards or narratives that felt dishonest. Instead, she leaned into realism, acknowledging imperfections and experiences as part of the human story. The way she communicated with fans reflected this maturity. She did not cultivate dependency or fantasy beyond the screen. She maintained healthy boundaries while still being warm and approachable. This balance strengthened her credibility and prevented the kind of burnout that often comes from blurred lines. Financial independence remained a core pillar of her journey. Reagan Foxx continued prioritizing ownership and control over her content. This strategy not only ensured stability but also allowed her to create on her own terms. By reducing dependency on external validation, she preserved her creative freedom. Her understanding of the industry's evolution also played a role in her longevity. Reagan adapted to changes without losing her essence. She embraced new formats and platforms when they aligned with her values and ignored those that did not. This selective adaptability kept her relevant without compromising authenticity. Public perception of Reagan Foxx became increasingly layered. She was seen not just as an adult performer, but as a confident, articulate woman who had made deliberate choices. This multidimensional image helped her transcend stereotypes and connect with audiences on a more human level. Criticism, when it came, was met with composure. Reagan Foxx did not engage in unnecessary conflict or defensiveness. She understood that not everyone needs to agree or approve. This emotional restraint reinforced her image as someone grounded and self-assured. Over time, her journey became less about visibility and more about impact. Reagan Foxx had already proven her point. She did not need constant validation to confirm her worth. This sense of internal validation became one of her most powerful traits. Her story continues to inspire conversations about confidence, autonomy, and the courage to step into unfamiliar spaces later in life. Reagan Foxx's journey shows that empowerment is not loud or aggressive. Sometimes, it is quiet, steady, and unwavering. As she moved forward, Reagan remained clear about one thing: success is personal. It is defined not by numbers alone, but by alignment with one's values. This philosophy guided her decisions and shaped her ongoing presence. Her journey is still unfolding, not as a pursuit of attention, but as an expression of self-respect. Reagan Foxx stands as an example of what it looks like to choose authenticity over approval, intention over impulse, and confidence over fear. As Reagan Foxx moved further into this phase of her life and career, her mindset became the most defining element of her presence. She often emphasized that confidence is not something you put on for the world, but something you build quietly when no one is watching. This belief shaped the way she carried herself, both on and off camera. There was no rush, no desperation to prove anything. Everything about her energy suggested calm certainty rather than performance. Reagan Foxx understood that personal power comes from self-acceptance. Instead of fighting societal expectations, she chose to step outside of them entirely. She did not seek permission to exist the way she wanted. This inner alignment gave her a sense of peace that translated directly into her work. Viewers could sense that she was not acting out confidence. She was living it. Her philosophy around success was grounded in realism. Reagan often spoke about how success is rarely linear and how growth often comes from discomfort. She acknowledged failures, missteps, and lessons without framing them as weaknesses. This honest approach resonated deeply with people who had lived enough life to understand that perfection is neither real nor necessary. Another key aspect of her mindset was emotional discipline. Reagan Foxx did not allow external opinions to dictate her self-worth. Praise was appreciated, criticism was acknowledged, but neither defined her. This emotional independence protected her from burnout and kept her grounded even as attention fluctuated. She also placed strong value on solitude and reflection. Reagan believed that understanding oneself requires time away from noise and validation. This habit of introspection helped her make decisions that aligned with her long-term well-being rather than short-term gains. It was this clarity that allowed her to navigate the industry without losing herself in it. As conversations around empowerment grew louder in mainstream culture, Reagan Foxx offered a quieter, more grounded interpretation. To her, empowerment was not about dominance over others, but about control over one's own choices. This distinction mattered. It reframed power as responsibility rather than entitlement. Her long-term influence lies in this subtle shift of perspective. Reagan Foxx did not just challenge age norms. She challenged emotional ones. She showed that strength can be composed, that authority can be calm, and that confidence does not need to announce itself loudly. People who followed her journey often spoke about feeling seen rather than sold to. Reagan did not market an unattainable fantasy. She presented a version of confidence that felt achievable, rooted in self-respect and awareness. This relatability deepened her impact far beyond surface-level admiration. As time went on, Reagan Foxx became more selective not just in work, but in energy. She chose where to invest her attention carefully, understanding that focus is a finite resource. This discipline allowed her to maintain balance, something many struggle with in high-visibility careers. Her influence also extended into conversations about redefining life stages. Reagan Foxx embodied the idea that growth does not stop at a certain age, and that reinvention does not require erasing history. She showed that experience adds depth, and depth creates presence. Even when discussing challenges, Reagan maintained a solution-oriented perspective. She did not frame obstacles as unfair burdens, but as realities to be navigated. This mindset reinforced her image as someone grounded, capable, and emotionally resilient. As her journey continued, Reagan Foxx remained clear about her priorities. Peace mattered more than popularity. Alignment mattered more than approval. These values guided her decisions and protected her sense of self in an environment that often tests boundaries. Her story ultimately speaks to anyone who has ever felt late, overlooked, or out of place. Reagan Foxx proved that timing is personal, and that stepping into one's power does not follow a universal schedule. This message alone became one of her most lasting contributions. Through intention, awareness, and self-respect, Reagan Foxx built a presence that transcended expectation. She did not chase relevance. She embodied it. Her journey continues not as a pursuit of attention, but as a reflection of inner clarity and confidence. As Reagan Foxx's journey continued unfolding, the idea of legacy naturally became more refined. Not legacy in terms of records or numbers, but legacy in how people felt after encountering her story. She represented a reminder that confidence does not arrive suddenly. It is built through experience, reflection, and the courage to accept oneself fully. This quiet strength became the core of her lasting impact. Reagan Foxx never positioned herself as a role model in the traditional sense. Instead, she lived her choices openly and allowed others to take what resonated with them. This authenticity made her influence organic rather than forced. People were drawn to her not because she claimed authority, but because she embodied it naturally. Her cultural significance lies in the way she expanded representation. She challenged narrow definitions of desirability and showed that presence and confidence evolve with time. By simply existing unapologetically, she opened space for conversations that had long been ignored. These conversations extended beyond entertainment and touched on identity, self-worth, and personal freedom. Reagan Foxx also highlighted the importance of agency. She demonstrated that control over one's narrative is a form of power. Rather than allowing others to define her story, she defined it herself through consistent actions and boundaries. This autonomy became one of the most admirable aspects of her journey. As audiences matured alongside her, the connection deepened. Many saw in her journey a reflection of their own evolving perspectives. Reagan Foxx did not promise transformation overnight. She offered something more realistic, the idea that growth is continuous and that self-respect compounds over time. Her calm demeanor often contrasted sharply with the fast-paced, attention-driven culture around her. This contrast made her stand out even more. In a world obsessed with immediacy, Reagan Foxx represented patience. In a space driven by noise, she embodied clarity. The emotional intelligence she displayed became a defining characteristic. Reagan Foxx understood that reactions are choices, and that restraint can be more powerful than response. This understanding allowed her to navigate public attention without losing composure or purpose. As her visibility stabilized, Reagan shifted her focus inward. Success, to her, became less about expansion and more about sustainability. She valued peace, balance, and alignment over constant momentum. This shift allowed her to maintain longevity without sacrificing well-being. Her journey also reframed the concept of confidence for many viewers. Confidence, as Reagan Foxx showed, is not about dominance or comparison. It is about comfort in one's own decisions. This redefinition resonated deeply with those who had felt pressured to perform confidence rather than live it. Over time, Reagan Foxx became symbolic of intentional living. She chose when to engage and when to step back. This discernment reinforced the idea that control over one's time and energy is a form of success often overlooked. The long-term influence of her journey lies in this subtle wisdom. Reagan Foxx did not chase validation. She cultivated self-trust. And through that trust, she built a presence that felt steady rather than fleeting. Her story continues to remind people that it is never too late to redefine oneself, not by becoming someone new, but by becoming more fully oneself. This message remains timeless and universally relatable. As Reagan Foxx's journey moves forward, it does so without urgency. There is no rush to conclude or prove anything further. Her path stands as it is, complete in its intention and ongoing in its expression. Ultimately, Reagan Foxx's journey is a testament to the power of self-awareness. It shows that when clarity replaces fear and intention replaces impulse, a person can step into any space with confidence. Her story is not about defying age or expectation alone, but about honoring one's own timing. And in that truth lies her enduring impact.